CalazCon is a show about war, obsession, colonialist occupation, and the many forms of violence those inflict. See the description for content warnings specific to this episode.
Hello listeners and welcome to CalazCon. I am your GM, Elspeth, pronouns she, her. Today I'm joined by Don.
Hi, I'm Don, pronouns are he, him.
And Philo.
I remain Philo T. Hazard. I use the they and them pronouns in this context. You can find me at Philo Hazard on some things, and if you like Beam Saber, good taste, great work. You can find some Beam Saber supply drops I've done at philohazard.itch.io, and I'll let Matt say the other things so he has something to plug.
Yep, and Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt. You can't find me in many places on the internet, but you can find some of the other work I do with Philo and some other wonderful people on Beam Saber at Admiralty Blues, where you find good podcasts.
Pronouns.
Oh, and hear him.
You'd hope they've picked it up by now, but you never know.
Maybe someone is joining. This is their first episode.
Yeah, you picked. If
Hello.
so,
Weird starting point.
And yeah, finally, Sabriel.
Hi, Sabriel, she, her. You can not find me on social media, but you can find my work, Clot, a Family Demonography, a serialized web novel on clotserial.wordpress.com. And I mean, if you like my writing, my AO3's out there. You can't have it, but it is out there, and if you found it, it would be really cool.
A quest. We'd also like to thank our squad sponsor, Lily Young. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/CalazCon. So, now we're all here. Where did we leave off with Terminal Company?
We did kidnap a person.
Kidnapped Empress Gold, and got vital intel on the armaments of a mysterious CalazCon superweapon, and then the superweapon appeared in...
Suddenly became a lot less mysterious.
Fairly dramatic fashion, yes. So,
it was a big robot.
Big
Who could have
robot.
imagined?
Yeah.
Who could have seen this coming?
Uh-huh.
I'm excited.
Robots are the size of people, I'll have you know.
True.
Yes?
Sometimes they're the size of Gendo Ikari.
Mm-hmm. But robots, but just like us.
Well, I'm just looking at our material and personnel there, Elspeth, and I think, are we on 6 supply, and I think it's 2 personnel and 3 material?
Thank you. Yes, I forgot about the stuff you already have banked. So, yeah, in total, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you should quickly decide how you're allocating the 6.
I think we got to put a lot in personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. What do we need for long-term projects?
That's personnel.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. There's interesting stuff for material, which would be, if we're doing enhance, because if we can spend 3 material to get additional quirk, that's quite useful. I think we're doing okay in terms of spending material to fix quirks. That's going to be something that we're going to be doing through this process, right? So is there anyone that might need any for that?
That's a great question. I actually haven't looked at my quirks.
My quirks are fine. I think we didn't do a lot of mech
Yeah, we
stuff.
did a lot of foot stuff last time.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm just wondering if we want some material to acquire asset, potentially. Because we have a big thing to take down, and acquire asset is a thing that can help with that, potentially. So,
Here is my pitch. I think we're going to need to collect at least once to get everything done that we want to get done.
okay.
So I think we should sort of just like put aside, assume we're going to be getting like a little bit more.
I would not be against turning all that 6 supply into personnel.
Sort of housekeeping question, maybe. How long is downtime going on for? Because there is a big mech over the city right now. And it lives there.
I do not think that is a housekeeping question because, yeah, you're right.
Timekeeping question.
There is a large, very literal shadow being cast over events because your days and nights are filled with the sound of gunfire, the retort of Goliath's machine guns, a sort of like deep, low, pulsing sound, which is definitely the sound of one of the cannons that you got intel on in your mission. Occasionally, this machine just belches out clouds of drones, like birds or wasps, that float and blot out parts of the sky, the clouds. There's not going to be a limit on how many things you can do. There might be a limit on, in terms of if you ask to do something that should definitely take a while, but I don't think that's going to happen. But everything that is happening is going to be very compressed, so how we sort of roleplay things and fit things together will reflect that. There's not a limit on how many things you can do, there might be a limit on their scope. Everything should feel very hectic. I definitely have some art for Goliath, which you have not seen yet, or if you have, or it hasn't been on in our recording yet, so I'm going to try to find that.
Do we need to roll an entanglement?
I rolled it. I know what
cool.
your entanglement is.
It's the words, don't worry about it, and the smiley face. Everything's cool, smiley face, kitty face.
Listen, what's the worst thing that can happen? Someone else fucking declares war on us?
That'd be hilarious. Like ignoring the giant robot in the sky and being like, I hate you specifically.
Hey, stranger things can happen.
Yeah, like in that TV show.
I don't
One
think we're
Piece?
bad people, but we are somehow
One Piece.
like the most hated squad in like the war.
We're not morally
Correct.
bad, but we are very punchable. Also, we have Tony Blair as our CO, which I don't think is helping.
We are doing quite a lot of overt war also.
So, we are looking at the official art for Goliath, which I have put on the Roll20 screen now. For those of you listening, we're looking at what looks like a kind of futuristic convention hall / arena as like the torso, but with a sort of tower in the center that then forms the upper chest of this humanoid sort of purple knight figure mounted on 6 spidery legs. There's also 2 beam sabers protruding from its arms and 2 very large shoulder-mounted cannons.
It's got a very pretty knife. I like her knife a lot.
That is nice. It's got some mounted guns on the convention center. It's shooting some rockets. It's stepping on a CalazCon truck, which I appreciate the detail of.
One of those is not a beam saber. One of those is like a shield. I
Beam
think.
shield.
Some kind of
Yes.
crystally... What is it, a shield? Yeah.
I think it's like a
shield,
hollow
or is it a
projection.
crystal? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
She's very handsome. I like her a lot.
So, yeah, this is there in the background, and there has been an emergency legislature called. You know that this is your next target. So, what's the atmosphere like at the end of the line?
Good.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're great.
And there's a festive atmosphere. Someone's put on Fairy Tale of New York.
I think it's going to be tense for a lot of reasons, but in some ways not, because we've just gone out of being bombarded by the 501st. That stopped. And now this is happening, but to all of, like, the CalazCon region, not just to us, right? So I guess there's a certain amount of, we're back on it, team, back on it.
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Yeah, exactly, right? So
it's a degree above what we've been dealing with, but only one. You know? Like, this is the fucking job.
Just 1 degree, sure.
I say,
Yeah,
I picture
probably.
like a busy atmosphere for sure. Like, it is all go all the time right now, right? Even if we're just preparing for things.
And I imagine there's also going to be some, like, not consternation, but how widely known is it that we have captured Empress Gold? Is that not public knowledge for, like, Board Squadron or Spanners or the NPCs working in the repair bay?
Yeah. I was going to bring that up because I imagine that you have some sort of temporary place that you're keeping them, whether that's
It's not like we don't have rooms.
Or an actual hotel room, which I'm sure they think is very authentic. You know, this is an exclusive CalazCon experience. No or very few other CalazCon attendees have been inside this hotel that was built for them. However, they are, of course, still prisoner.
We do have the quarters, though, so that's probably going to be fine. We don't have secure fob, but...
Well, we'll see, because what happens, I think, is Renee, standing stone, your direct superior, sort of stumbles down into the hangar as you're unloading from the Vector Mantis after the last mission and sees Empress Gold being led away and turns to you, Itzy, and says, "Oh, yes, wonderful. Excellent. I recognize them. They're very important, yes?"
Yes, we have taken what we believe to be an important enemy combatant as a prisoner after the last engagement. We would like to make sure they are secured here for the time being. Perhaps we can learn more about the enemy's deployment based on their knowledge.
Wonderful. Well, you understand there's a process to follow. We can't descend to their level. You understand. So I will contact Central Command and they'll send a convoy over to retrieve them as soon as possible, and any resulting details and information, you can trust the negotiation and relations team back at command to convey that to you. I'm sure that they will find this extremely valuable. Good job.
Absolutely. I will take personal responsibility for their welfare in the time being.
You are not going to have time to do anything substantial with Empress Gold because you do not have a facility for holding prisoners of war, and the DFS has a process here. So what Renee is saying is very soon Empress Gold is going to be taken to be housed somewhere else.
Presumably, if we want to do any actions relating to this, we could flash back into this period of time before they were taken away as well, right?
That could definitely work. That could be interesting, but I think there's a bit of a pause, and then Renee says, "Oh, well, I know that we have the facilities to give them a comfortable and ethical detainment for a certain amount of time. I know that, obviously. I trust you, Ipse, and the rest of your squad. You're very capable. So I would be happy for you to question this prisoner for a while, but
But you're saying this is above our pay grade, huh, sir?
Command might need some persuasion. You are going to have to pay a bribe that may be like abstracted or disguised as legal fees, investment proof that you've got the adequate facilities in order to hold on to and question Empress Gold.
Do you have a number on that bribe?
I was going to go with the same as, although this is not your entanglement, I was going to go with the same as the debriefing entanglement.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be 1 personnel.
Hmm.
And even then, that's only until the end of downtime. There will be more serious consequences if you do not hand Empress Gold over by then.
Is there stuff we want to do specifically ourselves with Empress Gold? Because it seems like there are some potential stuff that we could do. How are you folks feeling about that? But we should only pay it if we're definitely going to do something, right?
I mean, I have...
We were gonna do some interrogating, I thought.
That was on the cards.
Which I feel like would be helpful in a lot of ways. Is it worth spending a personnel to get, like... It seems like a good fictional way to tick drive clocks, you know?
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Right, like, we interrogate Empress Gold, we get all kinds of useful shit that, you know... We're gonna have to have a conversation about drive clocks, because apparently if I don't fill mine, you all die? So that sucks.
That's the ideal.
Only if we're still in Terminal Company.
Yeah, sorry, you can all leave Terminal Company.
Well,
I think that's the best thing.
Bad things happen to Julius's comrades because you keep picking bad drives.
Well, nearly everyone can leave. There's one person that can't unless a different drive clock is
Right,
fixed.
Mike has to die.
So yeah, I think we should pay this personnel and keep Empress Gold around.
Yeah.
If they're relevant to our drives.
Yeah.
And
I think there's definitely a long-term project we can get out of Empress Gold that's going to hopefully tick some drive clocks, if folks are okay with that.
All right. We're also gonna have another conversation whether or not we torture people, because I feel like no, but also
Mike is also against torturing Empress Gold, but mostly because it will lead to bad intel rather than any ethical concern.
Ipse was fully telling the truth when they said, "I will personally take responsibility for the welfare of the prisoner." So
maybe that's a bit hard, but I think Mike might have some ethical concerns, but it does sound like we're spending that, yeah.
Yeah, you're paying that personnel.
Yep.
yeah.
Alright. You set up Empress Gold. I'm imagining Ipse, you probably task some of Board Squadron with keeping watch.
yeah, I think that's sensible, but unless I'm actively doing other things, I think Ipse is just hanging out with guard duty on that. That's where I am during this downtime, unless I'm off doing something else.
Okay.
That's good. And it helps establish the closer relationship with Ipse and Board Squadron as well. So I kind of there's a lot, I'm imagining a lot of little scenes there, especially if you don't need to sleep. You can take on some of the gnarlier shifts, right? So I imagine that's very appreciated.
I don't need sleep and I'm designed to guard things. This is literally my job. So I will consult with the rest of the squad about this, but we should put them in a nice room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not like the presidential suite or whatever, but it's got a bathroom.
Yeah. As long as we can lock the balcony, you know?
Yep.
We could probably slip some kind of tracking device on them, surreptitiously if we needed to as well. There's a bunch of options.
Give them some exclusive merch that happens to be jam-packed with tracking devices. There we go.
That shirt's got to have some pockets on it.
Great. So, with that sorted, who has a downtime action that they're desperate to get started on?
I do.
Uh-huh. Yeah, what would that be?
I need to cut loose.
Mm-hmm. What's the setting for this? Is it the Royal Bar?
No. It's Mike's room.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is it Mike's room, or is it that balcony where they were drinking tequila that one time together?
See, I feel like this is Julius coming and finding Mike.
Sure.
If he's on that balcony, then that's great, right? We can work with that. But I have an idea for how this starts.
Okay. Well, I'll let you lead then. So yeah, the place he's most likely to be, as Ipse was saying, their kind of default position was going to be guarding. Mike's going to be running around in the repair bay testing facilities as a default position, probably running off caffeine as much as possible. If you wanted to catch him there, if you wanted to catch him in his room, just as he's got off shift, that's another alternative as well.
Is it more interesting if this happens in Mike's room, or this happens in a break room corner of the repair bay on top of some ripped out mech cockpits around a table that's just a cylindrical part on its side? Do we want to go for soft lighting hotel room, or do we want to go that's where Mike lives, but this is where Mike lives?
I think this is where Mike lives. I like this because there's going to be a lot of smaller rooms. I like the idea that especially as we've had more time spent around the repair bay, There's been more sections kind of sectioned off by the NPCs who are already doing other stuff. I'm sure there's like a meeting room. There's like a board room that's got all the whiteboards. And if Julius comes to find Mike, he'll like gesture towards it. And there's going to be someone in there like taking a Zoom call, and Mike's like, "Get out." It's like, "Oh no, but I've got the room booked. Get out. Get out."
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. What this starts off as is like, I think Julius has just been like helping around, light duty, right? Like trying to fix stuff. And him and Mike have been sort of in the same space for the entire day, just because they're both just like doing their jobs, right? And there's just been a sort of like nod, like, yes, hello, hi, it's still a little weird, but hi. And then I feel like we're like probably like 10 hours into Mike's shift, right? And he's just kind of like going, and Julius like taps him on the shoulder and is like,
hold up. Before you really get into the meat of this, remind the listeners of the belief situation.
I have 3 beliefs about Mike, which means at the end of this, we are going to test one of them. My 3 beliefs about Mike are: Michael has no understanding about how the war will crush him. Michael's dislike of me means he won't judge me for my mistakes. And Mike won't let me die.
All right. And I have 2 with Julius. I've got turncoats can't be trusted, I'm watching you, and Julius is here to usurp me.
Cool. Julius sort of like taps Mike on the shoulder and tells him to take a break.
Mike's initial response to that is, before he necessarily realizes that it's Julius, is to be like, "No, I don't need to take a break," but realizes recognizes something in your face and is like, "Yeah, okay." And then we get, to go into the meeting room. Someone's in there. "Oh, I've got this booked. Serge, get out of there." And yeah, we're in there. Close the door, flip something around, like "Do not disturb."
Do not disturb, yeah.
We're in a hotel, so it's literally going to be like a "Do not disturb" sign, like a just you would find hanging on a normal hotel room door.
Yeah, and I want to frame this sort of like shot low, and we're on both sides of a table that's like a flipped up like bale for wiring, right? Flipped on its side. Julius is sitting on like a ripped out bolted to the floor like lobby bench, and Mike is sitting in on a cockpit seat. Does that work?
That works for me.
And Julius produces a nice bottle of wine. Like an actually quite nice bottle of wine. He didn't get it from the hotel.
Mike's eyebrows raise.
And 2 wine glasses, which is insane.
Eyebrows shoot up even further.
It's a pink wine.
A rosé.
So Julius is going to take like a sip of his wine. Why were we drinking from the bar in there? It's vile.
Well, it depends depends what you're used to, doesn't it? I wouldn't say it's not all bad in there. I mean, okay, the tequila, that had something wrong with it. I think that was mostly just a merchandising cash-in rather than any kind of quality alcohol, to be honest with you.
Tequila was nauseating.
But this is some fancy stuff, usually a lot richer than my blood. What's the special occasion?
Oh, I'm going to cause some problems for you.
Okay. And this is different than usual somehow?
All right. Okay. You have me there. There's sort of a weird springiness around Julius, like a kind of a manic energy. He's in a weird place.
I think Mike has picked up on this. They've been around each other enough now to Mike realize that something is slightly different.
Yeah. How does he say this? What is the extremely weird freak way that he goes about expressing this? Well, Michael, through some combination of circumstances that I do not fully understand, you appear to know the most about me as a person of anyone on this He stops and takes a sip before he continues that particular line of inquiry.
Yeah, Mike's like,
Sabriel was like, "Oh, on the base, right?" And it was like, "Oh my god, no, on the planet." Christ.
I think Mike, wordlessly, lifts up his glass and actually goes for a cheers. He goes, "Yeah, it's funny how things turn out sometimes, isn't it?" And then a ting.
Yes. Like a sort of a rattled, ting. Michael, I don't really know what it is I'm intended to do here. I don't feel compelled to explain again the place that I currently find myself in, but I don't know what to do about it. I am not good for much of anything these days, and yet I can't see myself anywhere else, and you appear to have an investment in keeping me alive.
Mike looks like he's got some stuff he wants to say, but is giving you the time to get... He recognized that he needs to give you the time to get this out, I think.
Right. So, I've decided to make it your problem.
Oh?
What next? What do I do?
Mike pauses for a bit, downs his glass of wine, and looks at you, and is fully aware of, like, what you're kind of asking of him here. And, like, because there's quite a lot of import behind this, and perhaps for somebody else, they might balk at this being put across them, but for Mike, I think he just lets out a sigh of relief or a laugh and is like, well, Julius, it's about fucking time.
Julius looks like a deer in the headlights. I didn't expect... I'm sorry, you understand, I'm giving you a certain amount of responsibility that I imagined you would simply yell at me about. Tell me to finish my drink.
Well, you should finish your drink. That's...
He finishes his drink.
You see, Julius, I've been thinking about a lot of stuff recently. Quite a lot of stuff. And you're saying that you're not much good for anything nowadays. Well, actually, I disagree. You know, seeing Goliath, you know, seeing that monument to, like, weaponized Ceobuism trouncing around all over the city up there, it's really tied a lot of things together for me. So you remember that time on the balcony, you know, with the tequila gestures to the wine bottle? I think there's some kind of mirrored, like, framing of this scene compared to that last scene as well. You know, I was telling you that I was going to scratch and claw my way out of hell. Well, that's not changed. I'm still scratching, and I'm still clawing. But I realised something was missing, you know? And his head hangs slightly. I need to be pulling too. And unfortunately, if there's anything that having my pride broken and nearly getting trapped into a collapsing bridge taught me, is that sometimes my back is just not strong enough. But you, and he gets his finger and he's pointing at Julius, you melancholic oxen motherfucker, you seem like you've gotten pretty comfortable carrying the whole world's sins on those broad shoulders. And he's like patting down your shoulders. Maybe you think there's not room for much else on there, which is why I'm saying, and he gets quite close, he puts his hands on the sides of your face. Put it down. Hell, at least some of it. You know, I've been around the block enough times to know that none of us are getting out of this without some phantoms, but if we play our cards right, we can get out of this. If we can pitch things just right, set things up so it stands to benefit Standing Stone as well, well, we could be out of here and on DFO shows for the foreseeable, because that thing up there, and I think there's a coincidental like thump as something goes on with Goliath there, that's a hell of a threat. But it's also an opportunity. You see this here? And he points towards his wrist where he's got the kind of like engineering glove on it. You know how I got this? You would recognize, if you have a bit of knowledge about this kind of stuff, this is a very high grade piece of technology. You know, it's got this, like, you know, we've gone through all the stuff that it can be doing before. Like, it's way above like Mike's pay grade. And this would be noticeable. But it's got like dings and scrapes and stuff like that. It would indicate it's been in use for a long time. It goes, I got this from racing back in the day, in a bet, up against one of these uptowners. Bought a mech, thought they bought good training, thought they could simply outpace me. And don't get me wrong, this was back in the day. I didn't have quite as much kit as I do now, but They wanted to get into a little bit of gambling with the crew I was running with, and well, I don't want to say what was put up on my end, but let's put it this way: I did not want to be losing. I could have. He looks at one of his hands. I could have lost something that was very, very close to me, but well. Thing is, with these people that have bought their way into skill rather than earning it, well, sometimes they get surprised. And, all the money they put up on the other end of it, when it came down to it, and I was on the other side of that finish line, it turns out that the bank of Mum and Dad didn't quite have enough to pay it through. Things were looking very, very hairy until I was looking around their mech, and I saw this in the back of it, stored somewhere. Just out of the way, wasn't being used at all. This is some top-of-the-line kit, and it had just been thrown in as an extra. Worth way more than what they were going to give me, what they could have gotten out on their card at the time, shall I say, And I took it in lieu. Been with me ever since. Having this by my side's gotten me out of a lot of scrapes, and do you know how I was able to be confident that I was going to come out of that situation okay? It's because I bet on myself. Because I bet on myself and I swung big. And I got the rewards for it. And that's what we need to do here. That thing up there, that's one way that we're all going to be off this planet, if we're on the other end of that knife or those guns, but it's also another way out of there if we can deal with it. I've told you that I had a plan to get out of here, but it's changed, like I say. I need to be pulling, and you can be pulling too. Pulling everyone out of here, pulling everyone out of hell, if we can play our cards right. Give Standing Stone some leverage to move. Make some plays. You say you want me to tell you what to do? And he puts his hands on either side of your face. I want you to be a fucking hero. I want us all to be fucking heroes. For the longest time, I thought I could do it by myself, but I can't. I need you for this. We all need each other. And I don't mean to completely disregard what you're asking of me here. No, I get it. But the fact of the matter is, I've got a plan. And if you want to get up off that sad sofa and start actually making some moves that can do something, I think I've got a plan. You with me?
Julius stands up. He picks up the bottle of wine. He walks around the room while drinking from it. He puts it down. Michael.
Julius.
Yes, I came to this planet to try to save people. It felt like my only option. Those decisions aren't in my skill set anymore. When you need someone in that moment to say, go here, do this, shoot these people, less might die in the long run if you do. I don't have that. Whatever was in me is gone. So no, I don't think I can be the hero that you want me to be, but Michael, if anyone that I knew a very long time ago caught me talking this way, I would not hear the end of it until my retirement party. I don't have heroism in me, Michael, but you do.
Eyebrows up again.
If you need someone to watch your back, if you need a number 2, an attack dog, he stands up, he puts the bottle down, he gives a crisp salute, he nods and he says, Mechanist Sergeant.
Second Lieutenant. Wait, that is right. You are a second lieutenant, right?
Technically. While we're here, the way you people do ranks makes no sense at all. This is nonsense. You have to standardize that, all right?
I have to be honest with you. I find myself agreeing to a certain degree. It can cause issues for sure. And to be honest, I was never 100% okay with the fact that you were strictly speaking outranking me. So this is also bringing things back more in lines with a more natural order of things.
I would like to be demoted. Yes, thank you.
Oh, excellent. Brilliant.
Yes, is there someone we can ask about this? It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I'll take this up with Standing Stone, don't you worry. And Mike's furiously scribbling notes. Like, yes, this is brilliant. And for what it's worth, Julius, when I said I wanted you to be a hero, I guess you don't actually have to be one. People just have to think you are. I've got no doubts that getting out of here and trying to take a cushy position for all the people that we care about isn't necessarily a wholly good thing in the greater scheme of things. But damn it, if we can get rid of that Goliath, the war doesn't end, right? The war never ends. Men like us, we know that. But if we can get out, maybe that's how we get some peace. And in the meantime, if we can take a big fuck you, turn it sideways, and shove it up the ass of those convention pricks on the way out, hell, even maybe Fishy's got the right of it. Maybe we should be working together, like, more broadly, with DFS and your folks against these fucking tourists. Maybe that is the way. But we don't need to actually be heroes. We just need people to think we are. And claps you on the shoulder.
Let them think you are.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Let them think you are the up-and-coming new pilot from the DFS, the hotshot who's got Captain Julius Thermidor on a leash.
Make for a good poster, though, huh?
Yeah. Pretty good. Hated being front and center on those things. I don't have the build, Mike. I don't have it.
Yeah, it seems like you really only got one good side, and that's not really... Yeah, no, I can see that now.
Julius is giving Mike a look like, okay, fine. I am opening up to you a little bit, and there's a certain amount of mockery that I will take here, but we will hit a limit at some point.
Okay, but takes this and puts his hands up. It's like, no, okay, I get that. No, but like, noted. But it's good to have you on board.
Julius finishes the wine and then produces from presumably the same place that he had the wine another bottle of like appalling tequila.
Huh. Well then.
Before the evening devolves entirely, I have an idea for something that I'd like to run past you. And I don't want to continue past that. I have ideas. But I need to set this up as sort of like an anchor point for a flashback.
Sure. Makes sense to me.
All right.
Oh no! I knew that was going to happen.
Rolled a 6. I have 5 stress. I have overindulged.
Yeah, let's run through the consequences of that again. Okay, you're not going AWOL.
No, I'm not going AWOL.
I don't think it's impropriety. I don't think you're resetting your connection clock with Mike to 0.
No,
I don't think that's what's going to happen.
No.
So, brag, -2 trust with the DFS, or attract trouble. Roll another entanglement.
How's our trust with the DFS looking?
So your relationship with him is 0, and you are 4 trust into that. Oh no, your relationship with him is +1. They like you. You're 4 away from them being indifferent.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of also like the idea that this person that we maybe kicked out of the room, like, is very arsey about it and is, like, listening by the door and has heard some of this and has heard us basically plotting to sort of, like, be, like...
Whatever this means for military discipline, it's not good.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, they're talking about how they're kind of going to, like, play the honor system regards to the optics of the DFS in order to try and get out.
Maybe you gotta go in front of a court and explain that no, you're not actually trying to start your own PMC with terminal company assets.
Yeah. Yes, like...
Kind of sounds like you are.
Yeah, some busybody, like, support staff at the end of the line decides to report, oh yeah, I've definitely seen Mike and the Jovan Gillier, like, turncoat colluding or something.
We are extremely colluding.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, the belief that I am going to test is Mike won't let me die, obviously.
Mike was being 100% straight up with you there. you are important to his plan of getting out of here, and not even in the strictest sense of, oh, this is my attack dog. It doesn't matter if you're included in the people that he wants to protect. There may be some degree of, down the line we need to make hard choices, but in terms of he's coming at this straight up, it's genuine. He does care about you not dying on more than just a logistical level, although there is also that aspect to it too, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that was sort of the always the intent of the Mike won't let me die belief, which is just sort of Mike won't let me die, and I'm extremely ambivalent about that, as well as his motivations, right? And I feel like now we've sort of whatever I arrive on is going to be sort of like a synthesis of that.
Ipso, so you're outside the room that you've chosen to keep Empress Gold captive in. What does this look like? Like, are you relaxing or chatting to someone else on duty? Are you just stood at attention? What's up?
I think given the wider circumstance, Ipse is not very relaxed at the moment. The way I'm mainly picturing it is that I am sort of supervising one or two other guards from Board Squadron at the same time.
Mm.
So basically just guarding the door, and we probably do have some way of keeping tabs on Empress Gold while they're just in the room. Could literally just be opening the door to check on them.
I think there'll be cameras, right, to some degree.
Yeah, I think we're more likely we've set up a camera so we can keep an eye on them from outside. Yeah, so I'm being fairly professional, with this. I'm making small amounts of chatter with Board Squadron, but I think even to some of the kind of the grunts, as it were, who might know me a bit better from being around the base, I probably seem a little bit colder and more focused than normal.
Great.
And so I'm mainly asking them about, if they cycle back from taking a break or something, I will say, did you pass through engineering? How are the RV repairs looking? Things like that.
Okay. While this is happening, you get a buzz on your comms. Hey, Ipse, it's Birdie. You're down in the bay. They're, unloading our latest requisitions, and they're a bit short. I'm gonna have words with them, obviously. Few, but how tough do you want me to be with them? I know we've got some delicate matters in motion.
Did Birdie say who this is with? Is this with supplies people?
Yeah. Your supplies are being dropped off, and you are missing a bunch. This is your entanglement. You are missing supplies.
Okay.
So either lose 3 supply points, or bully logistics into giving you what you should have, and do a fortune roll to see how much trust you lose.
I do slightly want to put this to the squad, because trust is squad-based. Mm-hmm. So how bad does it matter if we drop below that +1 with DFS to everybody?
Mechanically, it kind of doesn't, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we're going to be going up again soon.
Yeah, I would assume that we're probably going to end up in a pretty good situation in terms of trust after the end of the next mission. Unless we all decide to flee the battlefield.
You are correct. At the same time, we're coming up to the last mission. If that is what happens, I will do my best to make it matter.
Yeah, sure.
So you do a 14 roll, and you only lose -2 trust, which is what would be enough to drop you down a relationship level with the DFS if you roll a 1 to 3.
What kind of roll does this suggest you to make? Or is it just saying a fortune roll and you have to roll a relevant skill?
It doesn't. I mean, I guess the way I've framed it, the obvious thing would be a fortune roll with the quality of your gang of toughs, maybe, since they're dealing with the supplies right now, but if you wanted to try to do something else, then I'm sure that could happen.
What's the quality roll?
They're elite toughs, so it'd be 3d6, presumably.
It would, yeah.
That seems pretty solid, and I think as well, given the situation, I think it is also pretty reasonable for Ipse to want to push back on this. So I really am back to Birdie and basically lay out, as I've been projecting to the members of the squadron that have come up and seen me during this guard duty, I'm like, Please make it clear to them the urgency that we receive supplies in order to combat the Goliath threat. I would like to think that logistical command should be on top of things, given the dire circumstances. Do whatever you need to do to make sure we get those supplies, Birdie. I trust you.
Alright. Thanks. Will do. Appreciate the straight answer. I tried to get through to Renee. He wasn't around, and I don't think he would have been very helpful if he was. So, give me that fortune roll for how well Board Squadron does with this.
Oh no.
That's a 1, a 3, and a 1.
Not filled with confidence for the next mission.
It's all going wrong.
No, we're getting them out. We're getting them out now. That's exactly how statistics work. Don't look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, you're back to just like perfectly no relationship, no trust, net zero relationship with the DFS. Full circle, nothing has changed.
But hey, we're getting our supplies.
So this is like 0 status and like 7 trust or something like that, is it? Or
Somebody get a trust, and then we're good. We're good to go.
So,
How's True doing? We haven't heard from True in a while.
yes, that's what I was about to ask.
She's doing bad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Damn.
This last mission was real bad for her. She was pulled in for some mild Inquisition antics, which wasn't great. Now she's back, and still not doing good. True is stress-free. She's also wearing a Hawaiian shirt to match Emperor Skull. No, like she scarred out twice this campaign so far. She took Vicious originally, and now she has Haunted Homesickness even.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's a totally different kind of scar, huh?
This poor hoe, she was born inside a wet cardboard box all alone.
Oh no. Don't, I'll cry. So I do think that's a rough situation on her, and I think she's been through a lot and is potentially questioning her judgment when it comes to a lot of things. Which isn't the best situation to be in when you're heading into the finale, but she doesn't know it's the finale, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
She does know it's a potentially big fight, though.
She does know it's a potentially big fight coming up, and I think that's part of the concern. So I do have some to-do list items that I want to do, and also I'm like, I think this is honest to True, right? So True has a drive clock called Free Michael, which is essentially about trying to get Michael out of the war, because she's fairly certain if she leaves him again, he'll get himself killed. Which may or may not be true, and is almost definitely true if we don't satisfy Julius's drive clock, so that's something also to satisfy. Yeah, it happens. So I'm thinking about some kind of long-term project to try and start ticking off Free Michael. Something that would feed into that drive. Because that is currently on. She's got 2 drive clocks.
Or 2 drive ticks, I guess.
Or she has 2 potential drive clocks. 2 ticks in one of them right now, and it takes 3 ticks to complete one. So I'm thinking about what that looks like and how True can put work or time into something to try and dissuade Michael from this whole ace idea.
Or it's 3 because for CalazCon we already have... Normally it'd be 4, but we have 1 automatically filled in because for the specific show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think basically what she does is she is still in the truck. I think one of the trucks, like, carrying, like, cargo holds just has, like, a little sleeping space in it because she is a trucker and she's had to do this for a while. And I think she is just sat in this little crawl space, essentially, and she has, like, a suitcase of some bits and pieces which are just stuff from home. I want to start a long-term project called Scrapbooking, which is just True trying to fill Michael in on A, life outside the war, and B, what Mike has missed for her while they've been apart.
Aww. That's adorable.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was aiming to try and get a tick in this drive clock for it. I don't know how significant of a thing that would be. I was thinking, like, not a terribly long drive clock because it's all stuff she has, but maybe it's also, like, trolling Spacebook for it.
I think this can be a 4-step clock.
Matt rolled up to this game and was just sort of like, here's my greasy little man who loves engines, and we all went, we're obsessed with him. He's the center of our universe.
It's not my intention.
That was definitely his intention. It happens in every Beam Saber game he's in, trust me.
I love Mike so much.
Fully formed, the statement, "It's his social swag," came into my mind. And now I wanted to leave again.
It's just like intoxicating 0 dots in sway.
Exactly.
Yeah, that must be it. Yeah.
I don't like the usage of the word intoxicating there, thank you.
I feel like none of us have sway, right? Right, yeah.
Oh my god, this explains so much.
We're all incredibly honest with
That's
each
why
other.
nobody fucking likes us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what action did you have in mind for this long-term project?
Every other squad comes up to us and goes, "You like us, right?" And we go, "No," with a completely straight face.
I'm just looking at it. We are, I think, canonically the most swagless of the squads.
Good question. No idea. Study?
Maybe more interface, yeah.
That makes sense. I've got 1 dice in that. There's not much I can do about that, but I'm going to keep ticking into this clock. I think this may be the long-term project downtime for True, so that's what I'm going to do. We'll see how that works out. And that's a 4, which isn't too bad. That's 2 ticks. And I'm probably just going to spend 2 actions to try and complete it entirely, because I just want it off the board. So I can do both of those now, and then maybe color what this actually looks like. Do you think it would just be the same thing again? I could also, I'm like, maybe it's like consort, but I don't know.
I could definitely see an argument for consort in terms of, like, you are aiming this at Mike.
That's what I'm thinking of. It's using True's limitless social skill, of which apparently she has 2 dots.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Neat. And it was a 3 and a 1. True.
That was worse. Okay, cool.
That was worse. Can I take a point? I don't want to have to spend all of my actions scrapbooking this downtime.
Yeah. Okay, so that's spending a personnel to just get that finished.
Just get it over the line.
Alright, great.
And I think when Mike eventually gets back to his room, it's kind of funny if it's directly after the thing with Julius, but I don't know. There is a literal scrapbook. It is a physical scrapbook on his bed.
Do we think this could come up in a cut loose or something, or do you just want to describe what Mike finds in it?
I have a cut loose I want to use, and I wasn't sure who I was going to do it with. I could cut loose with you, True, if that's an easy way of doing that.
That would be fun, because True has 0 stress, so won't cut loose, and will therefore gain 2 stress this downtime because she's scarred twice. But I also think it's kind of neat if they get some, like, actual face-to-face time.
Yeah.
So suggestion is, it doesn't have to be directly after the previous scene, but it is True dropping it off, and then leaving Mike's room, and Mike comes up. Like he wasn't there, and True took the opportunity to drop it off.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if it would be more interesting for Mike to have had an opportunity to have had a look, think about it and discuss.
I think so. I think like if this is happening after a shift, and I've had some very nice wine, then I could be in my feels, like having a look over this kind of stuff. But no, like this will definitely have an effect on Mike, whether or not it will sway him one way or the other for the final decision is another thing. But that's also like. Because we know Mike's drive and True's drive are kind of like up against each other. So we'll see how it goes. But I definitely think this will have an effect. I think what kind of stuff's in here? Does it have like?
So I have quite a lot in mind, but some bits and pieces as examples, and if other things come up in the cut loose, they do. Page 1 is her patch from the military unit that they used to be part of together, which is like stitched into the page. Next page is a squad picture of them together. So it's whatever their last squad looked like, a much younger Mike and a much younger True.
This is prior to you becoming a wielder as well, right? Because we used to...
It's prior to True fleeing the war in general, right? So it's True's hair isn't dyed. She has less lines on her face. Her hair is probably like a buzz cut or something like that. I think it's funny to have a cat girl with buzz cut hair. And she looks a lot more kind of, not buttoned up, but she's neater, you know, like first tour. She looks a little more self-conscious about that kind of thing, I suppose. Is there anything we notice about Mike in that visual?
I kind of like the idea that Mike also has a buzz cut. Like, we have the same haircut. Like,
oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's so cute.
Yes!
It's essentially some bits and pieces that Mike has missed. So it's True, like, the day she bought the truck. And it's her with, like, her hair kind of growing out and shaggier. Her hair is actually blue in this moment, like, fully blue. You know, it's her, like, standing in front of the truck, like, doing, like, a way along with Longreach. It is shots of, I think it's when she gets the house, which is just like it almost looks like one of those, like a half-cylinder bunker place somewhere, but it is, you know, there's plants growing over it, like it's starting to be overtaken by the greenery in the hills. I'm thinking of, like, abandoned Air Force bases in the UK where there's a fair few of them. But it's a picture from, like, a date of True and her wife. You know, it's them sharing wine in front of the Eiffel Tower or something like that. You know what I mean? Maybe like a Ferris wheel or something. And it is one of True's wedding pictures. It is a physical, like, Polaroid-style picture, clearly the one from True's cockpit. True is in a wedding dress. She is holding her wife aloft, like, kind of wielding her, I guess. Her wife is, I don't know if we've ever described her on screen. I think her name is Esme or something like that. She is also a cat woman. And, yeah, she's kicking her legs. The cake looks partially demolished, like someone has been shoved into it. And I think you can tell that there is, frosting on True's shoulders.
The camera's been catching Mike as he's been flicking through here, and his face, like, he's been coming out of, like, this talk of Julius pretty jubilant. Like, it's like, yes, I've got a plan. He's got this new friend in Julius, like, who his relationship has been increasing with over the past. And, like, there's definitely a part of Mike that recognizes that as his relationship with Julius and also with Ipsy has been improving over this period of time, he's not been spending much time with True, who was his best friend. I think as we're flicking through this book, the camera sees Mike and his face is starting to fall and fall and fall. And, like, maybe we also get some flashbacks of what Mike was doing during these periods of times as well. Almost like sepia tone as we cut to Mike's memories of that talk that True had with him in terms of, you know, are you going to get out, Mike? And Mike's like, yeah, I'm going to get out. And then he's looking at his emails and stuff like that. It's like some folks from back home who he did not have a good relationship with, like saying, oh, I hear you're getting out. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you soon when you get out. Just one more tour of his other buddies. And then we get a scene of, like, Mike getting the news that True has been killed and just completely losing it. And, you know, him, you know, inside his mind, like, pictures of him inside, like, the squads and, like, him starting off very, like, in these pictures with True, he's very, very smiley. And in his mind, when, you know, we're also seeing these pictures that were taken afterwards, for the rest of his career, like, moving further and further and further away from, like, the people who he's in the teams with. You know, maybe even we get from one of these as time's been going on, as he's been getting promoted, as the additional, like, bars are appearing on his shoulders, you know, he's moving further and further away. Maybe there's one where, like, Spanners has pulled him slightly closer. You know, we get an image of her properly having a go at him, like, you know, what are you doing? And, like, it moves a bit closer. And, you know, maybe in one of these later ones, we even get a young Fishy in Mike's memories, because they were in the same team. But when we get to the wedding, we actually see a tear coming down Mike's face, realizing that he's missed this.
It's not the last page, but I think a later page has a USB stick taped to it with a button on it. And when you hit the button, it is a voicemail recording, which is essentially just True's home voicemail recording and a number. But it is, crucially, the reason I want to focus on this is because it begins with, hi, you've got the blues.
Oh, yeah, I think Mike... Is it more interesting to have Mike come and see you whilst he's in this kind of state?
I think we can make it sadder if he is. So,
I think we can make it sadder. And, like, I think Mike puts his hoodie up so you can't see that he's been crying. And, like... like, goes up the stairs to where, like, takes a back route. And no one really notices that something's up with Mike. I think Spanners probably does notice that something's up with Mike, because...
Hold on, because I think it's good if we just get this, like, montage, and then we just sort of get, we see Mike preparing to leave, and then we get, if it's works for you, if we maybe cut away for a second, if we don't get this just yet. Because I would also like to check in with what Ipse is up to and then come back to you. Does that work?
That works. I will move my token away from the cut loose and bring it back when I make the roll.
Yeah, what are your plans, Ipse?
Yeah, sure. I have a few things I want to get done. I haven't actually done any proper actions yet, so I think right now I want to start trying to get some info from Empress Gold.
All right.
Do you think this is going to be a long-term project? Does that make sense for this? Or is it just a thing I'm doing?
I was going to suggest interrogate Empress Gold as being something I was going to potentially use. So yeah, if you want to start that up, that would, because there's potentially a few drives that could affect, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think this is a long-term project. We've had the emergency legislature meeting, and pretty much all of these other squad's missions were about gathering intelligence on Goliath. So I think that it makes sense that you're in the unusual position where I think you basically know what your next mission is right now during this downtime. And given the element of urgency here, you're probably sort of discussing it and thinking about it and planning at least a little in the background, which I guess also means that you're, in theory, free to do whole long-term projects, sort of downtime activities about specifically planning for that final mission. So, and this might affect what you want to ask Empress Gold about, so I wanted to just give you some of the details of what that final mission is. Your mission is, in short, to take down Goliath. However, it's a little bit more complicated than that. One of the other squads discovered the details of how Goliath's self-destruct system works. Because it is designed to self-destruct, it's designed to reenact this big battle from the CalazCon series, where it does battle with the Hope of CalazCon and Horizon Blue, and then once that's gone on long enough, the self-destruct activates, which makes it begin to fall apart and become vulnerable, which means that, in theory, Hope of CalazCon and Horizon Blue will finish it off, and it'll all go according to plan, and it'll look great. So what you're going to do is you're going to help gather the components that you need to initiate that self-destruct early, because, of course, they're not going to activate it until they feel like it's, also destroyed.
And after presumably a significant amount of collateral damage has been done to DFS troops and Evangelion troops and all that kind of business.
Exactly. Because the self-destruct needs the participation of Goliath, the Hope of CalazCon, RV, and Horizon Blue, each of them has a component to the self-destruct. So you're tasked with getting the self-destruct code keys from Hope of CalazCon and Horizon Blue. However, because, again, this self-destruct is like a sort of simultaneous choreographed thing, you need to get it and activate it at approximately within a certain window of V86, acquiring the internal key from inside Goliath. By the time they've got their side, you need to have your side. You can then combine those to initiate the self-destruct early, which will make Goliath vulnerable to attacks. Its force fields will come down. Some of its joints will disengage, so it can sort of fall apart dramatically. And you will strike the sort of finishing blow, in theory.
Makes sense.
Well, that's good for making us famous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that Empress Gold is also part of the early birds? Is that right as well?
Yes. And the Hope of CalazCon is, of course, the former stolen RV of your rival, Slipaway Bolt.
So yes, this could be a long-term project that gives a drive tick for finding out stuff about the early birds as well, so there's an opportunity for getting...
That's the main reason I want to talk to Empress Gold.
So, I just wanted to get that on the page because it's something that all your characters are aware of, you might want to think about, and it might inform what information you want to get from Empress Gold. So, I'm going to say this is a 6-step clock.
Sure, that makes sense.
So, what action did you have in mind to get this started?
Yeah, that is a good question, because I am not good at social rolling.
We're all very bad at it.
Oh, yeah. Can I start this project with a survey roll? Because I've been watching Empress Gold on the cameras that we have set up outside their room. And just trying to get a read on their emotional state and where we might go from here seems like the natural first step.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, determine sort of your angle to work, your plan of attack. Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's make a survey roll. That's a 5.
I think, first of all, you get the sense of someone who is very aware of what is going on and is being very vigilant and not wanting to really provide you with anything. I think that a lot of the early surveillance from their quarters, you sort of see a glance out of the corner of their eye and you get a sense that they guessed where a camera would be and they very pointedly sit away from it whenever they can. And that continues for a while. But then at some point the facade slips a bit, and you get the impression of someone who's kind of, not as calm as you would expect, but still just sort of maybe slightly melancholic or despondent. Like, they don't cry, they don't, pace about the room, they don't shout or complain, they never address the camera directly, but they sometimes just abruptly just collapse onto the bed and sigh and look kind of bored. I think they probably asked for pen and paper. Did you provide that?
I think there might become a point where we start playing hardball, but I'm not sure if this is the point. I don't know. What does other folks think?
It seems like unnecessarily cool to not give a pen and paper.
Yeah.
What if they write something down that's useful?
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably even some hotel stationery that was in a supply room somewhere in here, so they might even be extra happy that they're getting some exclusive merch, effectively.
Yeah.
Hate Empress Gold.
Yeah, we can't forget we first met Empress Gold when they were like, give us your repair bay. You have, Calazar branded winches and, jacks and things. Yeah.
And then the next time they showed up and tried to take more of our shit.
Yeah, it did just keep going.
And now we're giving them pens and paper.
Yeah, they spend some time writing. I think even if the camera is good enough to see, I think that stuff they are a bit more secretive about.
It's fanfic. They're writing fanfic.
I was very nearly about to say that myself.
And yeah, that's how that project starts off. I guess we'll see how this informs your approach when someone continues it.
Just gonna bribe them with hotel stuff that we found.
Do we want to jump back to True and Michael now, or let it stew for a bit longer?
Yeah, I think a lot of the emotional weight for this scene we've kind of gone through the scrapbook a little bit as well, but I like the idea that Mike's about to knock on your door and you open it.
Oh, I do like that. She's in a tank top and pajama pants, still has the trucker hat on. Oh.
Mike looks like he's been crying, but looks like he's tried to clean himself up. You know what I mean?
Oh, hey. She opens her arms almost immediately. Little tense of her brows, and then opens her arms, of course.
Mike kind of falls through the door and is just like, I'm sorry.
No, it was me. Really,
I thought you were dead, True.
I know. I thought you were better off without me.
Oh, come on.
I know, I'm an idiot.
It's been so weird these past, insert how long it's been, since the start of the thing. When you first dropped down, I didn't even know what to make of it. You know, I grieved you for a long, long time. And I'm sorry if things have been weird recently. I didn't know how to handle it. I guess I felt guilty as well. We talked, I said I was going to leave, and I didn't for a whole bunch of reasons. I don't know how you did it, honestly, True. I don't know how you can mentally flick something in your head and go back to civilian life. I'm not even sure. You know what I was like before I came here, before I joined the military.
Yeah.
I head back home. A lot of people out for blood on me. Hell, there's people I think only let me get off the planet because they thought I was going to go get blown up somewhere else. I made a lot of enemies.
It's a big universe. You don't have to go home either.
Yeah, I know, but what else is there? I know.
I mean, I guess that's what I was trying to show you.
Yeah, well.
There is more.
Yeah, I know, and there's more to it than that now. We're in the middle of something. Not just this shit with Goliath, but something bigger. I talked to Julius before. I think I've got this plan. Okay? I've got a plan. We might get flashbacks to various other types when they were on the same squad with each other, and Mike's like, listen, I've got a plan. And we've got these various different cuts of it, and like...
Wary smile from True.
There's like one where we're both stuck in a ditch, like covered and like burnt and stuff like that. It's, I thought you said you had a plan. You know, this kind of stuff.
Yes. Now, where have I heard that before? I do trust you, you know.
I know.
I know you would have kept my secret and all. There was something kind of comforting about the thought that maybe you moved on too. And, well, I mean, I'm back here and I'm wondering if I did or not, but still.
Yeah,
I know Long Reach. They're not really my kid or anything, right? But do figure if they were that I'd have asked you to be the godfather or something.
And Mike's hand goes up to his mouth and it looks like he's about to get set off again, but it's like, True.
Don't cry on me now. This is a new t-shirt.
I don't cry. Don't clearly like there's snot and stuff. Yeah, you know, I'm a tough guy. You know,
you're a real man's man.
Chopping wood, doing engines, all that kind of thing. Absolutely.
I don't think you've ever been near a wood in your life.
Yeah, I probably should have swapped the order of those, buried the lead a little bit there. But a lot of time's passed since we had that last conversation, True. I think I can get us out of this. You especially. Like this, if we can take that spaceport, there's going to be a period of time before any reinforcements come, and we can get people out. We can get you out. We can get you back to Esme. You know, we can get you back to your home.
I just want you to feel like there's a choice.
Well, I do. It's really mucked my plans a little bit.
Sorry. The last couple days and all made me think that maybe I don't know what's best for everyone. Maybe I don't necessarily know what's best for myself and all. But I do trust you. I know that when the time comes, you'll make the right call. I just want you to know that there is a call that you can make. It's not just being a lapdog and all.
Mike's brain immediately goes to a previous conversation with Julius. He's like, Yeah, maybe that's the point, you know, maybe that's what was weighing on my mind with Sir as well. You know, maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is you have a choice regardless of what you end up choosing. Maybe you do choose what other people want you to do. But the point is it's your call. Mike looks down at the scrapbook. Thank you, True. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just some stuff I've thrown together, I guess. Rubs the back of her neck, self-conscious. Don't tell Esme I gave you that picture. It's supposed to be in my cabin always. This looks serious and all. If anything does happen, you get long reach home, alright?
You know I will.
There's a comms frequency on the stick there and all.
Yeah, if they'll come along. I never got the impression they like me very much.
Yeah, but your family, right?
Yeah.
I'll get used to you. I hope. Give it some time and all.
Don't talk like that. I think, hell, if one of us is going down, it's probably not going to be you.
You still got a lot left to do and all. You'll be fine. Make sure of it.
And likewise, if something happens to me, look after Sir, okay?
Yeah, of course. I think she stands onto tiptoe. I don't think she's that much shorter than Mike, but stands onto tiptoe a little bit. If for emphasis and nothing else, kisses his forehead.
The scene there ends with True, and maybe there's a scene from maybe now, maybe in a little bit, where Mike's flipping through and he's looking at these pictures of him from the past, and he's thinking, "Shit, I think maybe I only have one good side too." Damn.
Every single picture of him is in the same pose or taken
yeah,
from
just the
same
3/4.
angle.
Yeah. I think that scene.
That was cathartic.
I should roll a dice.
Rewrite that Bond, fucker.
Yeah, I should have said earlier, what were the old beliefs and what's the new one?
It's vibes are good, smiley face, and then, vibes are still good, smiley face again. Let me actually see what it is. I thought Michael had gotten out. I'm guilty and I'll make sure he walks free. And in order to leave, Michael actually needs to want too.
And I've got one with True, which is I can't lose True again. I need to get her out. And
love to have mirrored beliefs. It's so good.
I'm going to have a new one, and I think that True has my best interests at heart.
Aww. That's really fun when True as a character isn't certain whether she has your best interests at heart. That's very... I like that.
I believe in the me that believes in you.
Yep.
I should probably roll a dice. Is it just a fortune roll dice?
It's the number of beliefs that you have, so...
It would have been 1 before, right?
Yeah, it would have been 1.
4.
Okay.
How much stress did you start off with, though?
6, so that's down to 2. That's not too shabby.
Lovely.
That's all right. That's all right.
Julius, I've got something for you, but I was wondering if you had something in mind for everyone else first.
Oh. Yeah, I do. I think I want to run drills. We know what we're up against. We broadly have an idea of the plan. I think Julius just wants to sort of get everyone moving in sync, right? Get everyone running maneuvers, right? I think he's probably telling himself that Jesus, if this was 5 years ago, I would have started doing this the second I got here, right? I have a fun image in mind, which is just sort of Julius has got everyone plus board squadron, anyone that we have on our staff who would be in a fight, just sort of sat in front of him, and he's just sort of explaining here's what we're going to do. These are the sorts of drills we're going to run. Does anyone have any comments or ideas or anything that I've missed? But before he starts talking, he just kind of looks at Mike.
Yeah, Mike's definitely going to be
looking for the nod.
Yeah, I'll give you the nod. In fact, I was going to say, because we get free assists on these, right?
Oh yeah, you do get free assists on these.
So yeah, if it's okay, I'll be at the front with you. If you want me to take the lead and be running people,
I like the idea of Julius taking the lead, but just having to look at Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I have some comments, some questions. Number 1, what actual downtime action are you thinking this is?
I think this is a long-term project because I want to get drive tick.
Yeah. Number 2, is Julius aware that his best friend Ipse has already done a bunch of drills like this with Board Squadron? Does he acknowledge it? And if not, what does Ipse think of this?
Oh, I did not even. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, I do this every downtime. It's fine.
I'm actually sorry. I was like trying really hard I was reaching for something. I did not intend to make it worse between them.
Well, if this is a long-term project clock, it's presumably the entire project doesn't have to be run drills, because I was thinking, in my notes, I've got, like, increase morale of the troops as being a potential long-term project that's going to improve some people's drive clocks and stuff like this, and, like, running drills could be part of that.
Oh, yeah. I think the premise of the project is definitely still sound, and if I remember correctly, when Ipse did this, it was more of a train thing.
Yeah, I was just doing it as a train, actually, generally.
Mm-hmm. Which is probably one reason why you didn't immediately remember Sabriel. But I was more just curious as to, like, if we did actually want to lean into the accidental awkwardness here, and what that looks like.
Sure. I mean, if there's 100%. something there.
I think you're running through the drills, and like one of the privates in board squadron puts her hand up and says, Weaver, don't you think that drilling that formation would kind of cross the wires a bit? I mean, we've already covered a very similar one with Ipse.
There is a almost imperceptible hesitation, and Julius does not look at Ipse. Julius very pointedly does not look at Ipse and says, excellent point, Private. We'll pivot to these instead. And just pushes through it. It's not important.
What do we see Ipse doing in this moment? Because I presume they're in the room as well.
Oh, how petty do I want to be? This feels like it's going to depend. I assume if we're doing a long-term project here, you're going to roll in a second for this. And I think Ipse's going to step in if things are going badly with the drills. Like, if Julius drops the ball here and the drills don't seem to be running well, then Ipse will step forward and be like, new plan, let's run what we did last time, watch this. But that's potentially happening. I want to see how it goes first.
Oh, this is rough. Okay, I didn't even consider... I guess this is probably command, right? I didn't think about what skill I was using.
Yeah, I suppose it is. What do we want to call this long-term project?
Goliath drills?
Yeah.
Oh, Goliath preparation, because that gives us some scope for doing more different types of role as well.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. This is unfortunately just kind of like Julius's less gendered "I'll make a man out of you" montage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No. We're training montaging this shit up.
How many steps is this clock going to be?
Let's go 6.
That's a 6.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Hey, say it's going really well. It's going really well, actually.
Okay, so what sort of stuff do we see everyone doing?
I think based on the success of the role, what Ipse is actually going to do is participate, because I usually do end up training with board squadron, so I'm actually quite well integrated into their sort of infantry maneuvers normally. And then after running it a couple of times, no matter if Julius has long plans, I am going to I picture Julius watching from the gantry, and I ascend back up and say, this seems to be going quite adequately, Second Lieutenant. I will be returning to guard duty now. And then just walk off. Leave you to it.
You know, salute. I think Julius is just watching, right? And then he has he's at like a comms desk is what it is. It's like a communication thing, so he can just sort of like get into anybody's comms at any given moment. It's like a switchboard, and he can say like, okay, yeah, like this is good, but you need to be doing this, or this is really good. I think he definitely like tries to sort of, because he rolled a 6, so he's not being a total asshole about this, like tries to sort of go like, oh, okay, then there is an existing thing that I am pretending I knew about this whole time, because otherwise I seem unprofessional. Maybe, you know, like, how do we integrate that in? And then Ipse just fucking leaves, and he's like, well, okay, then I guess we don't.
Mike looks super awkward at this. It's like, oh.
Excellent. I shouldn't have made that "I'll make a man out of you" comment, given some of the recurring motifs we happen to have had in the cut looses, because I realise now that dog and man are both monosyllabic.
I thought I was just the robot microaggressions. That's where you're going. That's half of that clock. Is this a me clock or is this an everybody clock? Because I'll just spend another token.
There was something I wanted to do on it as well, because there's potential for it hitting more than one drive clock.
I think we see Julius sat at his comms desk, and you actually get a bleep on your phone or whatever. And it's from Morn Marza, if you remember her, from the Hive. And it just says, "A lot's happening. Can we meet?"
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it gives a location as well, which isn't particularly, like, Hive territory or yours.
Okay. Can I bring Mike? Or was I told to not do that?
No, you were not told to do that. Not to do that. So Mike can come along.
Okay, cool. All right, then Julius is bringing his security blanket with him. I do have a belief for Mike. However, I'm not sure if it's going to work with Forb because it is an image. But it does express my feelings.
The impression I have got is that awkwardly pasting images into your Beam Saber sheet is a time-honored and classic tradition, so I think do your best to convey it to the listeners.
This is a picture of the anime Ping Pong, which everybody should watch. It is one of the main characters. His name is Smile, and he has his eyes closed, and he is looking up, and he is saying to himself, "The hero appears. The hero appears. The hero appears." And I, with the instant parry of from Porco Rosso saying, "You're stupid, I like that in a man."
Cut to the location that Morn asked you to meet at. It is the top of one of the last remaining standing. It's the top of an abandoned rooftop restaurant in the city. We cut to Morn sat at this dilapidated, dust-covered table. There's yarrowing napkins and faintly rusting cutlery in front of her. And the door opens. We see Julius and Mike enter, picking their way across broken wine glasses. And then the camera pans a little bit, and we see that reclined a little bit, so they weren't visible at first, but there is a man sat next to Morn Marza, who you don't recognise. Morn doesn't acknowledge this. She sees you and says, "Hey, sit."
Yes.
You also see her eyes flick over to Julius and over to Mike, and then worriedly to the man next to her.
Okay. Julius sits, nods hello.
As you sit down, the man stretches, leans back, looks out over the destroyed skyline, which, as always, has the omnipresent silhouette of Goliath against the sunset. Says, "Well, I can't fault the view. Still not much on the old place at my old barracks. Was all very nice. Had a sort of slightly gaudy but very distinctive hunting lodge theme. A lot of mounted deer heads and boar horns and whatnot. Very red. Good port as well. Julius, this man is describing the favoured haunt of the higher-ups at Evangelion High Command."
Okay. That's fucking worrying. Visible tension? I don't think he's opening his mouth quite yet.
Fond memories for you, too, I'm sure. I would have just been a corporal when you were last there, I think, but I still remember when they tried to make Win do karaoke. That was certainly a spectacle.
The forks are now everywhere because Julius has slammed his fist down on the table.
Mike's like, easy.
Julius breathes. What exactly is it that you'd like from me today?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I thought we could have a pretense of civility.
Everybody wants to fucking talk.
Morn, incidentally, flinches a little when you stand up, but doesn't break eye contact with you. She looks conflicted, a sense of, sorry, but this is what I had to do.
I don't think Julius is even looking at her. I don't
Yeah.
think he cares. He wants to know what the fuck right now.
Mm-hmm. The man continues, I understand that, there's a sense that, we should work together given the situation, and if you can manage to take the blinkers off your eyes, then I think you'll find that this can be quite beneficial for you. He drops a dossier on the table. General Augustin Kander. Serpent's Fangs. Read, discuss, bring it back to your team. Does one of you take the dossier?
Mike will grab
Julius
it.
gives it to Mike. Yeah. Yeah.
You hand it over to Mike, and I don't know if either of you noticed, but I think we do get the general raises his eyebrows and sort of gives some side eye to Morn Marza, who just shrugs very slightly.
What was the rank of this Serpent's Fangs person?
Oh, this is fully a general.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh. Alright, so it's been a while since we've had the Serpent's Fangs on screen, but I figured it seems like it's time for a bit of a showdown, so let's just get a bit of a recap. The Serpent's Fangs are what remains of the main generals and higher-up Jevangelian leadership in Hestial. So, understandably, a certain amount of history there for Julius. The general also mentioned someone called Wynne. I don't know if you want to remind the listeners about that one, Julius?
Yeah, thank you. That is Julius's dead. The relationship is kind of a series of question marks. They were in the army together, and there was a deal happening there. And it's his fault they're dead, along with everyone else that he knew back then.
Mm-hmm. And now they're here.
This motherfucker.
With an offer to collaborate. Michael, the dossier is pretty straightforward. I'll summarize it. The Serpent's Fangs are offering to give Terminal Company the spaceport. To leave, not damage it, take the stuff that's theirs, but not keep the buildings, the structure, keep all of it intact, and just leave it and give it to you. In exchange, they are going to take the final strike on Goliath. And they are going to take the credit for it.
Thanks for listening to CalazCon. This episode was edited and sound balanced by Christine Blight. You can reach her for voice acting at cvblight@gmail.com. The show's music is by Devin Nelson. You can find them on all social media at Devin Decibel. If you'd like to support CalazCon, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/CalazCon. Please tell your friends about the show too. Remember, all glory to Calazar.